far beyond the familiar stars of Earth's neighborhood. The colony planet Novus, once a shining example of human ambition and hope, was sending out a distress signal so urgent it cut through the vast silence of space like a cry for help from the edge of oblivion. The message, picked up by deep space listening posts and relayed immediately to the United Earth Federation, was filled with words heavy with desperation but still laced with hope, as if those who sent it clung tightly to the belief that help was on its way. The settlers on Novus described a world that had changed overnight, or at least so it seemed to them. Strange, shadowy creatures that moved faster than any Earth animal had ever moved began appearing at the fringes of their habitats. Creatures that seemed neither fully alive nor dead, but something in between, like nightmares given shape. Alongside these beings came a growing threat from the environment itself, violent storms that brewed without warning, acid rains that burned through, protective shields, and forests that twisted and shifted, almost as if the planet was alive and angry. The settlers spoke of plants that reached out with thorny tendrils of ground that could swallow a person whole in moments, and of a creeping silence that blanketed the nights, as if the world held its breath before an unseen catastrophe. Message contained pleas for rescue and aid, but also detailed accounts from those who fought to survive, adapting their technology and tactics with every passing day. The urgency was clear. Novus was becoming a death world, a place hostile not just to humans but to any life. On Earth, the news hit like a shockwave. Newsrooms buzzed with reports, scientists scrambled to analyze the data, and politicians debated the risks and rewards of sending a fleet so far from home. The people of Earth watched the stars with a mixture of fear and pride, knowing that their brothers and sisters were trapped on a planet slipping into chaos, yet trusting in humanity's boundless courage and resolve. The United Earth Federation, after hours of tense deliberations, made the decision everyone hoped for: an expedition fleet would be assembled and launched. Tasked with rescuing the settlers and uncovering the truth behind the sudden transformation of Novus, this was no ordinary mission. It required not only the strongest ships Earth had ever built, but the most skilled crew scientists, engineers, explorers, and diplomats, ready to face unknown dangers far beyond what anyone had prepared for. As the fleet's construction began in orbital shipyards, the story of Novus spread worldwide, uniting humanity in a collective hope and anxiety. Families with loved ones on Novus held their breath, while strangers on Earth looked up at the night sky, feeling the weight of a distant world's fate resting on their own. The first step was to decode the SOS signals further, to understand exactly what kind of dangers awaited the rescuers. Experts analyzed the frequencies and patterns, discovering hints of an energy signature unlike anything cataloged before, as if the planet itself had awakened something buried deep beneath its surface. Meanwhile, the settlers on Novus struggled to keep their colonies alive, battling hunger, fear, and the ever-present threat of extinction. They fortified their shelters with makeshift barriers and advanced shields, using every tool they had to push back against the creeping darkness. They shared stories of near escapes and brave stands, of teamwork and sacrifice, never losing hope that Earth would answer their call. The closer the fleet drew to Novus, the more intense the anticipation became. On board the command ship, Captain Elena Torres studied the incoming data, her eyes sharp and mind focused. She understood that this mission was more than a rescue. It was a test of humanity's spirit in the face of an alien world gone wrong. Every crew member felt the weight of responsibility, knowing that the fate of thousands depended on their success. Yet beneath the tension, there was an unspoken excitement, the chance to explore the unknown, to meet new forms of life, and to prove that no matter how dark the universe might seem, humanity would always rise to the challenge. As the fleet prepared for the jump to faster-than-light travel, the SOS signal from Novus continued, a beacon in the darkness, calling Earth to stand strong and respond. It was a call to save not just a planet or its people, but a call to save hope itself. The fleet, a remarkable assembly of ships from Earth's most advanced shipyards, began its journey toward Novus, each vessel brimming with experts from every Field scientists eager to study the unknown, engineers ready to repair and innovate on the fly, and explorers driven by curiosity and the desire to push humanity's boundaries. As the ship slipped through the endless darkness of space, the crew felt a mix of excitement and tension. They left behind everything familiar, venturing into the unknown where dangers might hide in the shadows between stars. Soon after leaving the solar system, the fleet encountered strange space anomalies, pockets of swirling energy that bent light and time, making navigation difficult and communication unpredictable. These anomalies were unlike anything recorded before. Sensors detected faint signals hinting at an ancient civilization that once spanned this region of space long before humans arrived. Fragments of technology, ruins lost to time, floated silently between the stars, whispering stories of a forgotten past and warning of challenges ahead. The crew worked tirelessly to understand these mysteries, combining their skills to keep the fleet safe and on course. Captain Alina Torres watched her team closely, amazed at their ability to adapt to unexpected situations. The bond between crew members grew stronger with every obstacle they overcame. Scientists debated theories about the ancient civilization's disappearance. Engineers modified systems to handle the strange energy fields, and explorers shared stories from previous missions to keep morale high. They realized that the fate of Novus might be connected to these cosmic secrets, and this knowledge deepened their determination to reach the planet and find answers. Meanwhile, across the vast distance, the settlers on Novus faced their own struggles. The environment around them continued to shift in ways that defied logic. Forests that once provided food and shelter now grew thick with thorny vines that trapped everything in their path. Storms that lasted for days shook their homes, and the very ground beneath them changed texture and color, as if the planet itself was reshaping. Yet the settlers refused to give up. They worked together, using their skills and limited resources to create new shelters and develop protective gear that could withstand the harsh conditions. They shared knowledge with each other, learning from mistakes and adapting quickly to survive. Their hope rested on the promise of the fleet's arrival, a lifeline shining through the darkness. As the fleet drew closer, communication between Earth and Novus became more frequent, though sometimes disrupted by the cosmic anomalies they passed. Messages from the settlers were full of details about the planets, dangers, but also tales of small victories, a harvest saved from acid rain, a new shelter that held strong during a violent storm, and encounters with strange, but not always, hostile creatures that seemed to be part of Novus's complex ecosystem. These messages lifted the spirits of the fleet's crew, reminding them of the importance of their mission. Yet uncertainty lingered. The mysterious energy source beneath Novus, detected from orbit, raised questions about what they would face when they arrived. Was the planet's rapid transformation a natural event, or was it caused by something deeper and more dangerous? The ancient ruins they had passed suggested a cycle of rise and fall that might be repeating itself. Every new piece of data brought more questions, but also hope that understanding could lead to survival. On board the command ship, Alina spent long hours reviewing reports and consulting with her team. She understood that the journey was not only about reaching Novus but preparing for whatever awaited them there. Every decision mattered, from the course plotted through the anomalies to the supplies they carried. The crew's training and unity were their greatest assets in a situation where the unknown ruled. As the fleet entered the last phase of their journey, an eerie calm settled over the ships. The vast emptiness of space, once filled with strange signals and cosmic puzzles, now seemed to hold its breath alongside them. The hope of saving Novus's settlers burned brightly, fueling every heart and mind. They were ready to face whatever mysteries and dangers lay on the horizon. United by the belief that humanity could overcome even the deadliest worlds through courage, cooperation, and relentless spirit. And back on Novus, the settlers prepared to welcome their rescuers, holding on to hope and resilience, knowing that their fight was not over, but that a new chapter was about to begin. As the fleet finally reached the orbit of Novus, the view before them was unlike anything they had imagined. The planet had transformed dramatically since the last reports. surface covered in vast stretches of strange alien plants glowing faintly in shades of blue and green. Massive trees with thick, twisted branches reached high into the sky, their leaves shimmering as if made of crystal. These plants seemed tough, built to survive harsh winds, acid rains, and the intense storms that had been ravaging the planet for months. Moving cautiously down to the surface, the fleet's explorers found creatures unlike any on Earth, some small and quick, darting through the underbrush with intelligence gleaming in their eyes, others large and slow, yet powerful and imposing, covered in thick scales that protected them from the environment's many dangers. The settlers, now a hardened group of survivors, had adapted well. Working alongside some of these native species in a remarkable partnership, they had learned how to communicate with the more intelligent creatures using signs and sounds, forming bonds that helped them in hunting, gathering, and defending their camps. The people had turned their colony into a blend of human technology and natural elements, building shelters that harmonized with the landscape instead of fighting against it. But despite these successes, the dangers of Novus remained very real. The settlers still faced sudden storms that could uproot their homes, strange poisonous gases that appeared without warning, and plant life that could trap the unwary for hours. The planet itself seemed alive and unpredictable, as if it tested the limits of all who lived on it. Scientists aboard the fleet studied samples brought back from the surface, discovering signs that the ecosystem of Novus was not just harsh, it was shifting rapidly, almost as if the planet's life was in a state of emergency. Deep beneath, the surface sensors detected a powerful and mysterious energy source, emitting waves that affected the entire environment. This hidden force appeared to be the reason for the sudden and violent changes on the planet. The energy pulses altered the growth of plants and the behavior of animals. It's making the world more dangerous but also revealing an unknown power buried within. Novus, this discovery changed the mission from simple rescue to a more complex and urgent goal. Understanding this energy and finding a way to stabilize the planet's ecosystem before it became completely unlivable. The scientists worked closely with the settlers and crew, sharing knowledge and tools. Combining their skills to explore the depths of Novus, they deployed advanced probes and used cutting-edge technology to map the energy source and its effects. Explorers ventured into deep caves and forests to gather data and observe the planet's reactions in real time. Meanwhile, Captain Alina Torres coordinated efforts between the different teams, ensuring safety and communication as the fleet's mission expanded beyond saving lives to protecting a world itself. The settlers played a vital role in this effort, their experience with Novus's unique challenges offering valuable insights that technology alone could not provide. In this collaboration, a new hope emerged, chance not only to rescue, but also to heal and preserve. Yet tension remained high as the energy source's power was unpredictable. At times, it caused violent bursts of energy that threatened to destroy everything nearby. At other moments, it seemed to calm, almost as if the planet was responding to the presence of the fleet and settlers working together. Scientists theorized that the energy might be connected to the ancient ruins discovered during the fleet's journey, suggesting that Novus had once been home to a civilization that learned to live with this power and possibly even harness it. If that was true, then the settlers and fleet crew were not only fighting to survive but stepping into a story much larger than themselves, one that stretched back across millennia. As the mission moved forward, the atmosphere on Novus shifted from fear to cautious optimism. The settlers continued to rebuild and strengthen their communities, while the fleet's technology helped stabilize key regions and protect vital resources. The alliance between humans and native species deepened, showing that coexistence was possible even on the harshest worlds. And though danger was never far, the people of Novus and their rescuers faced the future united by a common purpose: understand their home and ensure that life, in all its forms, could continue to thrive on this mysterious and beautiful planet. The arrival at Novus was not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a new chapter, a story of discovery, resilience, and hope written among the stars. As the fleet and settlers ventured deeper into the wilds of Novus, they encountered something they had not expected: intelligent native beings, who moved with a quiet grace and showed a depth of awareness that challenged all assumptions about life on the planet. These beings, soon named the Deathworlders by the settlers, were far from the hostile creatures many had feared. Instead, they revealed a complex culture built around the delicate balance of Novus's volatile ecosystem, a balance that humanity had only just begun to understand. The Deathworlders communicated not with words as humans knew them, but through a combination of gestures, colors, and subtle sounds that expressed emotion and meaning with precision. At first, contact was cautious and filled with uncertainty. Both humans and Deathworlders watched and learned from each other, wary but curious. Slowly, through patient observation and trial, the two groups began to build trust. The Deathworlders shared their knowledge of the planet's energy currents, the hidden forces that shaped the storms, the growth of plants, and the behavior of creatures that roamed the forests and skies. This knowledge was vital, it explained. Much of the rapid ecological shifts that had baffled human scientists. The settlers, in turn, offered their own technology's tools for monitoring and managing environmental conditions. Methods to protect fragile habitats, and innovations to support sustainable living. Together, they crafted new ways to live in harmony with the harsh world around them. The alliance was fragile, requiring constant effort and understanding, but it grew stronger each day. The Deathworlders showed humans how to interpret the subtle signs the planet gave: changes in wind patterns, shifts in plant colors, or the behavior of animals as warnings or invitations to act. This connection to the land became a bridge between species and a key to survival. With this cooperation, areas of Novus that had once been dangerous became manageable, and some even began to show signs of healing. The settlers found new hope, and the fleet's scientists were inspired by the possibilities of this partnership. The rescue mission, once focused on saving lives alone, transformed into a joint quest to restore equilibrium to the entire planet. It became clear that the SOS signal from Novus was not just a call for help, but a call to understand and respect the complex web of life on a world that challenged even the greatest human minds. Captain Alina Torres marveled at the transformation. Unfolding before her eyes, the human crew and settlers working side by side with the Deathworlders. Overcoming fear and differences to build a future together, she knew the success of this mission would become a story told across galaxies, a story of unity, resilience, and hope. Yet challenges remained. The energy source beneath Novus still pulsed unpredictably, reminding everyone that the planet's power was not to be underestimated. There were moments of tension when sudden storms or bursts of energy tested the fragile peace, but each trial strengthened the bond between humans and Deathworlders. They learned to predict these events better and prepared responses that minimized harm. This deepening understanding created a new respect for Novus's wildness and a commitment to protect it rather than conquer it. As the settlers and their new allies worked to stabilize the environment, they discovered ancient structures hidden beneath the surface, ruins that bore the marks of a civilization that had long vanished, but had mastered the energy that now threatened the planet. These relics offered clues to how the Deathworlders' ancestors had lived in harmony with Novus, and they guided the current inhabitants toward solutions that balanced technology with nature. The shared goal of restoring balance united all who lived on Novus, human and native alike, turning a desperate survival story into a hopeful future. The SOS that had once echoed across space became a symbol of connection, a reminder that even in the face of the most dangerous worlds, understanding and cooperation could light the way forward. With every step, humanity's presence on Novus grew stronger, not as conquerors, but as partners in a new and remarkable chapter of exploration and survival. The Deathworlders, once mysterious and distant, became teachers and friends, their secrets unlocking the potential for a new kind of life on a planet that had once seemed destined for destruction. Together, they forged a path through the challenges ahead, showing that the greatest strength lies not in domination, but in respect, knowledge, and unity. After months of tireless work, countless challenges, and moments where hope seemed almost lost, the people of Novus and the fleet's crew finally achieved a fragile but steady balance on the once chaotic planet. The energy that had roared beneath. The surface began to calm, the wild storms became less frequent, and the alien forest showed signs of renewal instead of destruction. It was clear that the combined efforts of human technology, the settlers' resilience, and the deep wisdom shared by the Deathworlders had changed the fate of Novus. As the planet slowly healed, the fleet's leaders gathered to prepare for the next phase, the return journey to Earth. They would carry back with them not only the settlers who wished to reunite with their homeworld, also invaluable knowledge about surviving in extreme environments and the lessons learned from forming an alliance with an intelligent native species. This mission had started as a desperate rescue and had grown into a story of cooperation that redefined humanity's place in the universe. The settlers, however, made a bold choice to remain on Novus, inspired by the unique partnership with the Deathworlders. They envisioned a new society, one where human creativity and technology would live in harmony with the natural rhythms and wisdom of the planet's native inhabitants. Together, they began building communities that reflected both cultures, designing homes that blended with the environment, and developing sustainable ways of farming, energy use, and education. These new settlements became symbols of hope-proof that even on a world once deemed a death world, life could flourish when respect and cooperation guided every decision. Back on Earth, the news of Novus's transformation and the success of the fleet's mission sparked celebrations across cities and nations. People listened with awe to stories of the settlers' bravery, Deathworlders' mysterious culture, and the fleet's courage in facing the unknown. Scientists studied the data returned from Novus eagerly, seeing new possibilities for future exploration and survival strategies. Leaders spoke of the mission as a turning point for humanity's future in space, a shining example of how challenges could be met, not with fear and force, but with understanding and unity. The journey to save Novus became more than just a rescue. It became a symbol of what humanity could achieve when it worked together, crossing not only distances between stars, but also the divides between species and cultures. Captain Elena Torres, reflecting on the mission, felt a deep sense of pride and humility. They had faced dangers no one could have predicted, and yet emerged stronger and wiser. The lessons learned would shape future expeditions and the way humans approached other worlds forever. As the fleet prepared to leave Novus's orbit, there was a shared feeling of both farewell and promise. The settlers who remained waved goodbye to their friends heading back to Earth, confident in their choice to build a new life alongside the Deathworlders. The native beings, once strangers and now allies, watched with calm eyes. Knowing that the bond forged between them and humanity would endure, the ships began their jump through space, carrying back a story of resilience that would inspire generations to come. Novus had been a warning and a challenge, but in the end, it became a beacon of hope. The people of Earth looked up at the stars with renewed optimism, knowing that no matter how dangerous or strange a world might be, cooperation, courage, and respect could transform even the deadliest places into new homes. Humanity's journey to save Novus was a testament to the strength found not just in technology or power, but in the heart and spirit of those who refused to give up. It was a new beginning, not only for Novus, but for all who dreamed of exploring the universe together.